Right now at 5:30, we're tracking the investigation into a human trafficking case out of Lexington. We'll have details in a live report.
Also on WKYT this morning, as Eastern Kentucky tries to recover from historic flooding, families of victims are remembering their loved ones.
And an elderly woman is recovering after being hit by a car in a Madison County parking lot.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning and welcome in. It's nice to have you along here on this Tuesday, July 21st. Oh, finally beginning to feel like summer out there. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith. Finally, yeah, that's the word.
Yeah, it's going to hopefully dry out here. We'll have a little stretch, and we have needed that.
We need it, Micah. We need just some days at the pool.
You know, I think everybody does, even those kids trying to get them out of the house. You know, in winter, it's hard to get them out of the house because of how cold it is and also the snow. Well, it's not the temperatures. It's just the rain each and every day. But look, we're trying to get rid of that today. Only a couple of shots at afternoon shower or thunderstorm. So it's the tea time forecast. You're trying to get that golf game in. 72 degrees there by 8 a.m. I believe the warning time should be good to go. It's going to be a little soaked out and about, but that'll be all right. And toward the afternoon, 85 degrees. I'd say take off. If you do get a shower or thunderstorm over you, no severe weather expected, and it'll be very brief, so it's not really going to completely wash you out. So take off and enjoy. We'll talk much more on the next few days, because that's when it gets even better. And I'll have that coming up in a few minutes.
Yeah, the chance to finally dry things out. Thank you, Micah.
Well, new this morning, we're tracking the investigation right now into a human trafficking case out of Lexington.
27-year-old Robert Constant is now charged with 2 counts of human trafficking, and we have now learned that these are only some of the charges he's facing. WKYT's Mark Barber is live from District Court with more on that. Mark, what can you tell us about Constant?
Good morning, Bill. The details in this case are disturbing. Police say that Robert Constant sold 2 17-year-old girls to buyers that he found online. According to court documents, Constant sold the girls for sex to men that he found on Backpage.com. Court papers also state that Constant sold the girls to men that he already knew. The 27-year-old was arrested about 3 weeks ago. Police say when they caught him with drugs on the north end of the city, he tried to run. The sex trafficking charges were filed against Constant yesterday. However, officers aren't saying what led them to include those charges yet. I've been looking through court records this morning to learn more about Constant, and I found that he has faced charges in more than half a dozen cases, some of them felony cases, in the past few years. However, it appears as if he only served 30 days for convictions that stemmed from a case that involved an assault and a police chase back in 2013 and 2014. Now, this is the third alarming case involving sex trafficking in central Kentucky in the past few weeks. Back on July 1st, another Lexington man, Walker Wright Jr., was accused of kidnapping a 15-year-old girl with an intellectual disability. Officers say that he planned to sell her for sex. And in Frankfort, 19-year-old Jonathan Diaz was arrested at a hotel last weekend after investigators say they caught him forcing a 15-year-old girl into prostitution. Now, those cases are still moving through court. In this latest case, Constant, he will be arraigned here at the Fayette County District Courthouse on a long list of charges, including 2 counts of human trafficking later this afternoon. Live in Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
All right, thanks so much, Mark. Heavy rain is to blame for a minor crash in Lexington. Around 2 this morning, police tell us a woman lost control of her car on Interstate 75 near the 113-mile marker. When she hydroplaned, she let go of her steering wheel. The car then hit the middle barrier on the interstate. She was all right, but a man in her car was taken to the hospital with an injury to the arm. Well, we are still hearing heartbreaking, just absolutely just so sad stories out of eastern Kentucky after floods devastated that region. Including
this one. The mother of a man who died during last week's flash flood in Johnson County is talking about her tough loss. The last time Heather Blair saw her 22-year-old son Richard was when her house floated away in floodwaters. Heather and her 3 sons were inside when the water started pouring in. Heather and her sons Heath and Tyler managed to escape, but Richard was swept away.
Richard, Mommy's trying to get you, Richard. I'm trying to get you. And all I could see was his face. You know, his face was still above the water.
Heather and her 2 younger sons have been living in a hotel ever since they lost their home.
Well, after all that devastation, one question still remains. Will the people in those areas rebuild in the same place? The Kentucky Department of Environmental Protection says the flood was a once in every 500-year event. But the state says that the homes that were damaged or destroyed should have a permit from the state because they were in a floodplain. The state does not have any floodplain construction permits from Johnson County. The state says that they recommend people not rebuild in the same locations.
Wildcat Moving is now teamed up with the American Red Cross to help out flood victims. Wildcat Moving has provided a box truck to haul supplies to flood victims there. Today, from 8 until 4, you can bring donations to the truck, which is parked outside the Red Cross on Olivia Way. That's just off Newtown Pike in Lexington. For a full list of donations that are needed, you can go to our website, WKYT.com.
New this morning, Northern Kentucky police officers are passing along alert about a missing girl. This is 13-year-old Bonita Hawks. She's been missing since Friday. Edgewood police think she may be in the Covington area, but they're more concerned about who she's with. They think a 30 to 40-year-old man picked her up from home. If you have any information, you should contact police.
5:36 is the time on WKYT this morning, and witnesses describe a frightening sight. They say an elderly woman was hit by a car outside of a Madison County grocery store. It happened yesterday in the parking lot of Kroger in Richmond. A Kroger representative says the woman was with her daughter when the driver of an SUV backed into her. The woman's arm ended up pinned between the SUV and a car. A nursing student who saw what was happening said she tried to keep the woman calm until the paramedics arrived.
I knew that I needed to keep her talking and make sure that people, the bystanders, stay clear because a lot of people were crowding around her.
The injured woman was taken to UK Hospital. Her name has not been released. Kroger representatives say she is expected to survive. And they say the driver was also taken to the nearby hospital. They think she may have had a medical emergency before the crash.
We are learning more about a man accused of killing his mother in Lexington. Court workers in Colorado tell us Jack Clemens is set to appear in court this week for his first hearing. Police arrested Clemens last week after they say he led them on a chase all the way from Colorado to Kansas. It happened a few days after Lexington police say they found Clemens' mother, Shirley Clemens, dead inside her home. It was Lexington's 12th homicide of the year. Police charged Jack Clemens with murder. He's also facing charges for the chase in Colorado and Kansas.
Kentucky U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell has announced that he hopes to come to an agreement soon on a transportation bill. The senator says that he and California Senator Barbara Boxer spoke all weekend long about a bipartisan highway bill. Authority for Transportation Programs runs out at the end of this month. That would eliminate the Transportation Department's ability to process payments to the states. McConnell says he hopes the decision will be in the best interest of constituents.
I said we were all sent here by our constituents to try to make a difference, to offer our ideas, to try to move the country in whatever direction we think is appropriate, and we need to open this place up and let people have their say.
Senator McConnell says he wants to pass a bill that keeps programs going through the upcoming presidential election.
A federal judge has now listened to more arguments over a lawsuit filed against the Rowan County clerk. The ACLU sued Kim Davis after she stopped issuing marriage licenses. Davis testified that if she issued marriage licenses now, it would mean she approved of same-sex marriage. She says her religion won't allow her to do that. Davis claims the First Amendment gives her that right, but the attorney for the plaintiffs disagrees.
That if you apply her conception of the discretion that a county clerk has in office to its logical conclusion, the simple fact of the matter is that anybody can deny anybody a marriage license anytime they want to based on their own personal religious beliefs.
This case is not about these plaintiffs' desire to get married. This case is about the plaintiffs' desire to force Kim Davis to approve and authorize their marriage in violation of her constitutionally protected religious beliefs.
The judge said he expects to have a decision the week of August 11th. Traffic alert to pass along for you this morning. A demolition project here in Lexington has been delayed. Crews were supposed to begin the old Frankfort Pike Bridge demolition overnight, but that project was pushed back. WKYT's Hillary Thornton is live from News Circle with more. Hillary, any word on when the project will resume?
Good morning, Rebecca. Right now, no word on if demolition of the old Frankfort Pike Bridge will resume this morning, but there is another closure scheduled for later tonight. The road closure started at 10 o'clock last night and was scheduled until 7 this morning, but was likely called off early due to the rain this morning. Drivers headed through the area during that demolition are directed around the bridge by using the exit ramps. This is all part of the widening and reconstruction project of New Circle Road from Versailles Road to Leestown Road. This closure comes after some other closures late last week and into the weekend, also to work on this exit area. Crews work to widen the street as well as on the off and on ramps for the old Frankfort Pike Bridge. While traffic is moving through the area now, there is that other closure scheduled for tonight starting at 10 o'clock going until 7 o'clock Wednesday morning. Now with this stretch of roadway open, drivers do still need to be careful, and crews are wanting to remind the drivers that the speed limit is 45 miles per hour through the construction zone, and they also want them to pay attention as the lanes are narrow through this area. Live in Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
All right, easy does it through that area until they get that project complete.
Yeah, that area's been seeing a lot of action, obviously, over the last year or so with all that Leestown widening and everything.
More to go. 5:41 is our time this morning, and let's check live drive traffic right now, see what's going on out there, and if we have any problems or delays.
Looking at the Waze app, not seeing a whole lot to slow you down. Roads appear clear. Your commute into Lexington should be normal, which is always good.
Yeah, we had some rain in the overnight hours, so you might have some of that still on the roadways, so be careful. And we have a lot more news coming up on WKYT on your Tuesday morning.
Well, Legos can be used to build just about anything. Wait until you see more of this Lego movie theater in Britain. We'll have more coming up at 5.
And the good news is our focus the next several days will be the temperatures. We still have a couple of spotty showers to go through today, but the next several days look pretty good in the forecast, and I'll have that coming up in just a few minutes.